Okay, welcome to part 3 of our Math 2B Fall Final Review. This is covering numbers 35 to 50. So we're talking about 35 here. Simplify root 72 into the simplest radical form. So if we look at root 72, I just like to think about all of the perfect squares. So your perfect squares are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. And we're looking for the biggest perfect square that goes into 72. Take a look at this list here, and it would be 36 times 2. So we can go root 36 times root 2. Root 36 is 6, so we would have 6 square roots 2. 36. Eric is flying an airplane at an altitude of 1,700 feet. He sees his house on the ground at a 45-degree angle of depression. Now, actually, there's a couple ways to do this. Let me give you some room here. So, here is the airplane. He sees his house down here. Oops, that was really bad. Triangle I'm drawing there. Right here. And this is a 45-degree angle. What is Eric's horizontal distance? So its horizontal distance would be this distance, and the altitude is 1,700 feet. Okay, now when they set up this problem, I'm assuming they wanted to do trig functions. So there's a couple ways you could do trig functions here. The best way here is to use tangent, because this is the opposite over adjacent. Now there is an easier way, but I wanted to set up our trig function first. So I would say opposite over adjacent is tangent. So tan 45 equals 1,700 divided by x. And we can multiply both sides by x. So we get x tan 45 equals 1,700. Divide by tan 45. If you divide by tan 45, 1,700 divided by tan 45, well, tan 45 is 1, so that would be actually 1,700. Now, if you noticed here, since this is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, these two sides have to be equal. These two angles are equal, and therefore those two sides are equal. So we could have seen that right away to know that that is a 1,700 feet. Okay, 37. Find the missing angle theta to the nearest degree. Same thing here. From theta, this is the opposite side. This is the adjacent side. So we want to use tangent. But now we don't have the angle. So we're going tan theta equals opposite 43 over 17. And to figure that out, we need to use a calculator and do inverse tan 43 over 17. So let's bring this calculator in. Inverse tan 43 over 17. You get 68.43 degrees. All right, 38. Luis is standing on a street in San Francisco and looking at the top of the Transamerica Pyramid with a 30-degree angle of elevation. Okay, so here's the Transamerica Pyramid. Luis is standing in the street, 30-degree angle of elevation. There's a right triangle. He is 521.2 meters from the Transamerica Pyramid. How tall is it? So again, this is a special right triangle, which means that there are two ways to do this. One is with trig functions. We're going back. This side over here, the x is the opposite side. This is the adjacent side, so we're going to use tangent again. So we could do tan 30 equals x over 521.2. Multiply both sides by 521.2. So x equals 521.2 times tan 30. 300.91. Another way you could do it is, since this is a 30-degree angle right here, that means they gave you the longer leg or the middle side length. So we could take 521.2 and divide it by root 3. And if you do that, you should get the same thing. Okay, 39, it says write an equation that can be used to solve for x. Simplifying is not necessary. So we're standing at this angle again, 67 degrees. Let me change colors here. We have the opposite side and the adjacent side. Again, so again, we're going to use tangent. So tan 67 equals x over 10. Now, it is multiple choice, so if that is an equation that can be used to solve for it, so it might be that. It might want you to simplify one more step, multiply both sides by 10. So your final answer might be x equals 10 times tangent 67. My guess is that you're going to have you simplify it there. Okay. Number 40, what is the length of x? Same idea. This time, since we're starting at the 37, the x is the adjacent side. The 26 is the hypotenuse, which means we're going to use cosine 37 equals adjacent x over hypotenuse 26. Multiply both sides by 26. So 26 cosine 37. 26 cosine 37, 20.76. 20.76. Okay, we see we're in definitely the trig portion of the test. Okay, 41. What is the measure of the missing angle x? Back to trig here. We're starting there at x. This is the opposite side from x. This is the hypotenuse. So we're going to use a sine function. So sine of x, because it's always the sine of the angle, equals 15 over 37. Inverse sine of 15 over 37 will give us our answer. So inverse sine 15 divided by 37, 23.92 degrees. 23.92 degrees. Okay. Still doing trig or special right triangles. Number 42, find GH. Okay, so here's GH right there. So 35, this is the adjacent side. This is our hypotenuse. So we're going to use cosine 35 equals 18.4 over x, which is the same as GH here. Multiply both sides by x. Then we have to divide, so we get x cosine 35 equals 18.4. Divide by cosine 35. So 18.4 divided by cosine 35. Helps you put parentheses there. 22.46. And that is inches, it looks like. Okay, 43, find the values of x and y. So now we're looking at we could still use trig, you really could. We could set up maybe the 30. Here's your 30-degree angle. But it wants the simplest radical form. And if we use trig, we're gonna get a decimal. So we're gonna use our special right triangles. We know that the short side here is half of the long side. So this is 24, so that means x has to equal 12. And then this medium side, which is a long leg, is a short side times root 3. So y equals 12 square root 3. I like the shortcuts. It's a little easier there. 44, what is the height of an equilateral triangle with side length 16? Okay, so let's sketch a quick equilateral triangle. Okay, sides are all equal, side length 16. Want the height. Okay, we also know that these are 60-degree angles because it's an equilateral triangle. And then this side length right here has got to be 8 because it's half of the long side. Which means that this is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle here. And when it's a 30, 60, 90, the medium side is always the short side times root 3. So this would be 8 square root 3. Use a special right triangle to write tangent 30 as a fraction. Okay. So both 45 and 46, it looks like we're going to use our 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Okay, and we're going to start our short side. We're going to use the basic triangle, which is using our short side as 1, our long side, our hypotenuse is 2, and our medium side is 1 times root 3, or just root 3. So tangent of 30 would be opposite over adjacent. So tan 30 be opposite 1 over adjacent root 3. We could simplify that a little bit. Multiply by root 3 over root 3. Final answer would be root 3 over 3. So either of these would work. Okay, sine 60. So sine is opposite, so root 3. Opposite over hypotenuse, root 3 over 2. We don't need to simplify that further, and the reason is because on this top one here, number 45, there was a radical in the denominator, and usually you don't want that. The bottom, the radical is in the numerator on the top, and that's how we simplify there. A few more left. Looks like they're all imaginary number problems. Add. We can only add the real number portions. So 6 plus 5 is 11. Negative 2i plus negative 7i is negative 9i. 48. Distribute. It says multiply, so we're going to distribute. 3i times 6 is 18i. 3i times negative 5i is negative 15i squared. But remember, I squared, that equals negative 1. So I'm going to sub that in there. 18i minus 15 times negative 1, which would just be 15, right? We want the real number to come first, so it'll be 15 plus 18i. (49) What is the expression equivalent to that squared? Okay, so let's just square this, which just means you multiply it by itself, right? Make sure we distribute everything. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times negative 3i is negative 12i. Negative 3i times 4 is negative 12i. Negative 3i times negative 3i is a positive 9i squared. Don't forget that squared there. Now we can simplify, we can combine these negative 12i's to a negative 24i. And then remember, the I squared equals negative 1. So we end up with a 9 times negative 1, which is negative 9. So simplified here, 16 and negative 9 is 7 minus 24i. That's your final there. And last one is subtract. We have to make sure when we subtract, we're going to subtract each one of these, which means that negative sign has to be distributed in a way to both of those. So we have negative or 8i minus 8i. They just combine like terms. 5 and negative 6 is a negative 1. Negative 2i and negative 8i is a negative 10i. Okay, that concludes our final review for our CP Math 2B. Good luck on your final and have a happy holiday.